This morning, growing concerns of the national security risk of foreign influence over America's public schools, with many countries like China, Saudi Arabia, and even Qatar leveraging their financial investments. Joining us this morning to discuss is Deputy Public Policy Editor for OpenTheBooks.com, Rachel O'Brien. Good morning to you. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You know, American parents, Rachel, would be just stunned to see the list of foreign organizations infiltrating our schools. In fact, one that you point out, which I didn't even know, is from Qatar, a tiny country in the Middle East. The Qatar Foundation International is the American arm of the Qatar Foundation, which is owned by the ruling family there in Qatar. How are they getting into American classrooms?
Yeah, so they're known as QFI, and they offer grants to schools, in this instance, K through 12 schools that offer Arabic language courses. So they pay for part or all of a teacher's salary. They provide the curriculum. They pay for field trips for students. They have required training for teachers. So while learning the Arabic language is all well and good, it's the attached propaganda from this country that is alarming. So this is a country whose values don't align with America's. They have human rights abuses. They currently harbor terrorist financiers. Qatar is the home sponsor of Hamas. They seek to wipe Israel off the map, literally. We saw it in New York and Texas schools that there are QFI teachers, affiliated teachers who got funding from QFI, who've displayed maps in their classrooms that don't have Israel. They replace Israel with Palestine. So they're indoctrinating students at their most impressionable moment, and they go on to become the college activists we see that shut down campuses.
QFI also partners with universities and their Middle East centers to influence K through 12 schools. How does that work specifically?
Right. So it's a pipeline from 5-year-old kids in kindergarten, all the way up to 22-year-olds graduating college. So Open the Books reviewed emails between dozens of school districts across the country, and QFI has a relationship with many of them. And so they involve universities. For instance, Brown University's Middle East Center. They offer conferences and training for teachers in K through 12 schools. And it has this anti-Semitic bent. So a recent report from the Committee for Accuracy in Middle East Reporting, they looked at Brown's Middle East and Palestinian Studies departments, and they said that they are fueling anti-Semitism. That program has worked to indoctrinate college students in bigoted and extremist worldviews. And then Brown goes on to provide curriculum to these secondary school students. So about 1 million school students in the 50 states are learning about history and the Middle East from Brown's programs called University Choices Program. And there's a strong pro-Palestinian bias that shines through. Israel, they describe Israel as a Zionist enterprise in Palestine, an apartheid state, a military occupier. This is just one example of university Middle East centers that partner with QFI. They create teaching material for teachers, for students. Again, this is a tiny country that has established itself as a cradle to graduation influence. It's a big influence on American
And very
students.
quickly, it sounds like these schools, the QFI has these schools and teachers on a tight leash when they accept funds. Tell us more about that.
They're controlling each and every aspect of the program. So once a high school or middle school accepts these grant funds, they must report each and every step of their teaching to QFI. So teachers have to file 3 reports every year about every facet of their classroom. They have to give certain testing, QFI provided testing. They do site visits. Teachers have to attend QFI training. They have to attend their sponsored events and other seminars. If they don't adhere to their strict reporting schedules, they can be blocked from future funding. We saw this happen. Tucson School District had funding for about 7 years for their Arabic language program, and they were denied it because they did not give reporting that QFI found sufficient. And so we found districts all across the country. Open the Books is going to be continuing to investigate this. We're going to have sort of a full scope of this for people soon. But parents and the public can ask their own school board. They can ask whether there is QFI funding and see if it's influencing their own schools.
Sounds like there needs to be a little bit more oversight from the federal government as well, a little bit more regulation as a result of this. It's really stunning to see this report. Deputy Public Policy Editor for OpenTheBooks.com, Rachel O'Brien, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.